Hi guys, welcome to today's kind of, I guess, a special video. We're just going to talk, Dave and I, about this campaign, the way we've experienced it so far. Because this is actually an idea Dave came up with, and I thought, yeah, let's give it a shot. So,
and it worked.
it actually did, yeah.
Just my job here is to come up with stupid ideas and let's see if they work.
Yeah, because this one is definitely different than a lot of campaigns that are out there right now. The one that's in the France book, you have a company, basically.
Which I looked through and I didn't. There's parts of it I liked and parts of it it's like, that's no.
Yeah, it relied on a lot of bookkeeping, if you will, about what did each unit do to determine whether it gets to improve its stat or abilities.
Not that we don't have bookkeeping because.
Oh no, we got bookkeeping.
Let's be honest, because we're both. What's the best way to put this? We're both. Well, we got introduced to each other in the most bookkeeping type game that I can think of, which is 7th edition 40K.
Yeah, there was a lot of
Which, if you like looking at charts and you like the crunchiness of all the numbers, that's the game. And that's,
yeah, I definitely don't have a problem with bookkeeping. Not at all. I know a lot of people do, and that kind of slows down campaigns and makes people kind of lose interest.
Yeah.
After the initial excitement wears off. But here, the only bookkeeping we had to do is, well, how many points do you have available in your army to add more units or replace guys?
Well, it's like you got to keep track of what unit's gotten guys taken out of it.
Yeah.
It's not a lot. That it's just we've imposed more bookkeeping on ourselves, I think, than I initially thought. But I don't care. I'm fine with it.
Yeah, no, I actually don't mind it either. But I like not having to worry about special abilities, that a unit may pick up, because this keeps the games all really playable and replayable, because you don't need a special chart of abilities that some units can get and some units don't. And
that'll be in the next Clash of Heroes thing we try.
Oh, really? Okay.
We talked about that.
Which one?
The Erewhon one.
Oh, that version, the fantasy one, yes. That's a completely different thing.
That will be way more crunchy.
Yeah, we were going to try this with Warlords of Erewhon as well, a narrative campaign kind of thing.
That's ways off.
Yeah, that is. We're going to focus on our World War II Germans and Polish right now. One of the things that has been nice is kind of following the general story arc of the early invasion of Poland. Centered in this case, we've kind of kept it centered in the south of Poland. So
that's
honestly,
where we are? I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know where.
Yeah, it is because that's where my 10th Cavalry Brigade fought. That they were in the south in the foothills. That's why we've had rough terrain like this with the hills and what have you, because that's.
I just thought you liked pretty tables.
Well, I do too, but that actually might be why. No, it's not. But anyway, because that's what my collection, allowed me to really feature.
And I don't.
The problem I'm running into is I don't have enough models. Because when it comes to my infantry, I only have really 24 guys for my Black Brigade, and then I've got 10 guys for my regular Polish army, which I'm using to represent the Border Protection Corps, and then which is the KOP, and then I've got 10 guys who are I'm representing the National Guard unit with. That's it for infantry. I'm ignoring stuff like the machine gun team or the mortar.
Right.
But that doesn't give me a lot of extra units to pull in. If we were playing in the late war, I've got 2 complete platoons. That's plus additional guys. I could probably field 70 infantry. And it's, not that I would, but that's a lot I could do. Here I can't. I'm limited. And so I'm running into...
I probably could too, because I have all those, they're essentially 10-man squads, but I have to break them into 5-man. So I have 3 5-man assault rifle squads and 3 5-man submachine gun squads. They can't use those.
Yeah, not in this particular one, yes. But you can when we get to the late war. So that's been kind of a challenge. It's making me want to think of, I should add to my existing collection, not just the way I was intending. I'm intending to get cavalry and some more what is it, like the guard type, National Guard
That
kind.
scares me.
Well, but this is because Hubel, Major Hubel, that was his kind of his code name. I'm not good at pronouncing his name right now, so I'm not going to try to pronounce his name. But he was part of I think it was the 18th Uhlans. He was supposed to retreat away from the Soviets and help defend Warsaw, but he was cut off and couldn't make it to Warsaw, so he headed south, and he ended up continuing the fight. His whole idea, because remember, I don't know if you knew, I don't know if you guys know, but the Polish High Command, the orders are basically to run a delaying action kind of a battle throughout the entire war to give the British and French the week's worth of time they needed to mobilize and invade Germany, which they never did. Now, Hubal thought, well, they're going to eventually come, so I'm going to keep my force together, and we're going to try to gather up everyone we can, right?
Makes sense.
So he kept fighting from October all the way through April of 40 when he died, and his men continued to fight until June before it was completely disbanded. There's a whole bunch of stories. When I do make that,
is he in any of the Bolt Action books?
no, he's not.
That's weird.
No. Yeah, well, he's a different kind of character because he came into being when after Poland surrendered. That's when he started encountering Germans and fighting Germans. He wasn't actually intentionally attacking them, but he did, and he'd done some really bad damage. No, he didn't. He was actually trying to avoid them.
Right.
But the Germans were really trying to seek him out, and they sent armored cars and SS after him. It didn't end well either. But as I build that force, because I really do want to build it, I'll be telling the story in some different
I'm not
videos.
looking forward to cavalry.
Oh.
I am not. I've listened to enough podcasts and I've skimmed the rules for the Polish Lancers. I am not looking forward to that.
I do want to field some.
Those are scary.
Yes, and they're not easy.
The two scariest things that I've heard about, and I've not fought either one of them, is the Polish Lancers.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, the three things: Polish Lancers, Japanese bamboo fighters.
Oh gosh, yes.
And Gurkhas.
Gurkhas are not fun.
I've not fought against any three of them. I have enough problems with Rangers.
Yes.
I don't want to deal with all that stuff.
Well, see, I'm pulled back from running the normal, what you see on the table with the Polish Lancers, because Polish Lancer sections were 6 men strong, and I would be running 6-man units, not full 10-man. 10-man units would be when they, after two casualties, you kind of absorb them into your other units. But
right,
like I'm doing here, I'll run my 6-man squads, maybe bolstered 8, because this division or this brigade, each platoon had 4 sections. The third section was only 5 men and didn't have a light machine or VAR, and they would often spread those 5 guys through the rest of them, or those 5 guys, 2 of them would be operating the anti-tank rifle, stuff like that. So that's how I'm building my list.
I mean, it almost kind of. This sounds weird, and it's just because of, like, with you doing that, there's times where I almost feel bad that I'm not running like a specific, like, I'm not running the 12th Panzer Division, because that's what everybody loves. Because I know what I want to run, and I've had talks with people online about it, and I get yelled at for it. Because when I started playing World War II games, I started with Flames of War, I got handed Totenkampf army, and I loved that army. I loved it, and I would love for a Totenkampf selector. I guess is the right word for it. But there's not, so I run. That's why in normal games you see me run a lot of SS, because I like. That's a bad word to say, but I enjoy running the SS because I'm used to it. I knew what they did in Flames. It's not that I like the SS.
Familiarity.
Yes.
You're familiar with that. Yeah, no, don't feel bad. This is actually what I'm really enjoying about this campaign is that we get to play the models we want to within a time-bound context, right? So no flames.
You get to play the models you want to. I can't play them. This is weird for me because I'm playing models that I probably that I don't normally play.
True, you do.
That Panzer II. I don't.
Yes.
It's a solid tank. I'm not gonna lie. But compared to the other 2 tanks I have,
Mhm.
I prefer 3 if you count the Whirlwind.
Yeah.
Trust me, I'd love to have a Whirlwind right now,
I know you would.
but I can't.
Not yet.
Not for a while.
Yeah.
Till 44. But I mean,
Right.
I've learned to appreciate some of the stuff that when I was randomly buying stuff off of Miniature Market to start this army.
Yeah.
It's like, hey,
That's
this
a
is
good
cool.
point. Yeah.
The Panzer II came in the Blitzkrieg box,
Mm-hmm.
and the Panzer III, I got the howitzer tank. That's the 3, right?
Well, that's the 4.
That's the 4.
Yeah, that came in the Blitzkrieg box.
I
Yeah.
I have a much stronger appreciation for that tank than I ever had before.
Yeah. Well, because you only used it, I
Once.
think once before, and that was in the first learning games you were doing. So now you get, it's been a solid contributor to your army. Thankfully, I was able to take it out. And, it is a bit expensive to replace, but
Yes.
yeah.
The other thing that I will say, I have learned more than because I run SS, I don't really have to deal with this. The durability, we've talked about this, the
Oh, yeah.
durability of just regular guys, regular
Yeah.
troops.
Yeah, ignore the last game we played with the firefight, but yeah, typically, yeah, our regular squads have been lasting pretty well. And heck, even my inexperienced National Guard squad.
They don't do anything, they hide.
Well, every time they get shot at,
That's true,
you know,
they go down.
even if they're up, they don't get hit enough. And yes, they die a couple, but I've only gotten down to 5 guys. Is the smallest it ever
the
got.
one when Dietrich took them up on the hill.
Yeah,
And they
yeah.
were in that building. The
Yep.
only thing that saved them was
Yeah.
them being in that building.
Yes, exactly. You're absolutely right. Yeah, no, they're paper, but it's still, I mean, you don't have to go veteran. Which I'm learning that too, because yes, I upgraded a couple of my squads to vet, but I didn't have that many squads after when I hit
You
that
more
point.
with the campaign, the way we were doing it though. You were smarter than. Well, I've never had enough points to upgrade anything other
Yeah.
than one squad to a vet.
Yeah.
But you were smart enough to not upgrade. You were smart enough to upgrade the howitzer, the machine gun too.
Right? Yeah.
Which is what if I was smart, I probably would have done.
Hmm.
But I mean,
Yeah, the smaller teams.
the smaller
units.
teams, like
Yeah.
I mean, hell, even just upgrading one of the 4 motorcycles you've killed
Yes. Yeah.
would have been nice.
Upgrading that would have prevented maybe some failed order tests, but it wouldn't make them more
That's
durable.
true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. But I do like the way we're doing reinforcement points because it's never guaranteed. And I mean, we changed it partway through when we realized that it was almost an all or nothing. I like having it. You always get 100 points, and you roll to see if you get more. I like that approach, and using an objective holding kind of approach. So every game, whether it's a kill point to determine winner or loser, there's always some sort of objectives that we try to shoot, and those objectives are what give you the bonuses. Still debating whether winning or losing should be a plus or a minus to that roll. Heard it both ways.
Winning should be a plus. I don't think
Think
there
so?
should be
Okay.
a minus for losing.
There was there was one thing was offered. I forget where I read it. I don't know if it was on a forum or whatever. But the concept was that as you're winning, you're getting further and further. You're extending your supply lines. Hence the -1. As you're losing, you're retreating and you're collecting stragglers. So, and you're getting closer to your supply base. So we've been treating it, you get a bonus, a +1 if you win, no bonus if you draw. But
Which we haven't done yet.
we've,
Did we draw?
well, yeah, we drew, the last game we drew. It's just we had objective points that gave us bonuses. We've actually drawn a couple different times. In the end, yeah, I mean, narratively there may have been a winner or loser to
That's
advance
what I
the
like.
story, but
It's weird to say that because I appreciate this game more than any other bolt action in general because it's way more common for it to end up a tie.
yeah, it is.
And I appreciate that, with the narrative, it's like, okay, like, we've done, I don't know if it's been on any videos because I don't remember off the top of my head, but I know, like the first game in the
Oh, in
bombed
the
out,
ruins, bombed out, yeah,
Bombed Out
bombed out
Ruins.
city.
like, we figured it was like, okay, narratively, this is, like, okay, the game's done.
Yeah.
Narratively, this is what would have continued to happen. It's not just, okay, we're done, and both armies just go back to their
Yeah,
house.
yeah,
It's like, this is what would have happened.
yeah.
or like when I finally took the hill.
Oh gosh, that was a fun game.
It was like, okay, technically I think you won because you still had all 3 houses. You had 2 of them. One of them was unoccupied.
Yeah, you did not. You didn't win because you never took the houses from me.
Right.
But narratively,
yeah.
There was no, I had a unit. Yeah, there was no way I could.
You
I
had
won the game.
You had what? Rostkowski and
Rostkowski, and I had the ON squad
and 2 tanks.
Yes, and those were off to the side. Yes.
They were on that side of the hill.
Mm-hmm. I'm thinking of TKS. The tank cats are over here. Yeah, you're right. But yeah, so I had nothing on the hill really to speak of. The KOP squad was still there, in bad shape. Wojcik squad was down the whole game. You took out a medium machine gun team. Didn't have the mortars at the time. Got rid of a lot of my stuff. Yeah, the anti-tank rifle was still there.
The rifle. I'm talking about the gun.
The
group
my
charge.
howitzer. Oh man, and I had just upgraded an event too, but it made sense. But that was actually a fun game because we went from the first initial assault, which was hilarious because it didn't work.
No, it didn't.
Yeah. For both of us, it was an oops. I did get lucky in the sense that I was able to keep you from getting neighbor to the hill.
Was that the game? That was the first one. Was the one where? No, was the knife fight that the daybreak wait earlier than? Was that the second one?
No, that was the second one.
That screwed me so bad.
It did, but it did too because it kept me out of there. But the initial game where it was essentially you coming on, you deployed some of your units on, and then you came with a lot of first wave stuff. Reinforcements, and the whole point was trying to take the hill with what you had, but because you didn't, it set us up for the next scenario narratively. Well, I've got it, now I can get a couple fortified positions and try it again, and then you came up with the idea of doing a night fight, which is kind of cool. So I am liking that idea of stringing together scenarios to tell a larger story.
And this is nothing against, not that I've really looked in detail, but and not trying to break our arms patting ourselves on the back, but I think we've done it better than say one of the campaign books. I think the games seem to string along together better than this date here, this happened.
Yes.
3 weeks later, this game happened. This is your fight here.
Yeah, I've kind of been looking at this in a slightly different mindset than the campaign books, because you're right, the campaign books cover a very long period of time. Months particularly. Here, in the campaign games we've done so far, we've only covered a week of time. We have just finished September 7th with this last firefight game we played. We're about to go to the September 8th. Well, it's actually September 6th we just finished. So we're about to go into September 8th, which will be the next defensive battle. So we were kind of telling a much tighter story because there isn't a lot of time between battles.
Right.
And so I think that's what plays into that feeling. I'm not recommending Warlord should do these kind of campaign books because,
they'd be yay thick.
Well, not only they be yay thick, but as you see with the units we brought in this, and some people may not like this, they're the same armies really each time. They've got a slight twist here or there because of casualties or reinforcements.
Yes and no. I would my army's probably going to have to change drastically again. But the second taking of that hill, I went in with a completely different mindset. That's why I bought both those 221s.
Oh, and that helped.
Both those half tracks.
Yeah.
The 88. Mm-hmm. The 88 didn't really do anything except scare you, which is kind of what it was there for.
That's right.
But it did its job. It kept your tanks where I could control your tanks more than you could. I felt.
Yes. Yep. It forced my tanks to stay off of the wings. Which
I love that model, and I don't get to play it that much just because.
Oh yeah.
I want more stuff. I want more troops.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. So I do like the flavor of this campaign. It's a great idea that you had, and I like the way we've done it. Again, not trying to pat ourselves on the back or anything, but looking at what we've learned, because this has set us up pretty well to make some tweaks for the next chapter, which will end up being in Africa.
Which will look
I think,
extremely
yeah.
weird for me.
Yeah, it will. Because I don't think I'm going to have any of my French models in time for our second chapter.
I'm not bringing any Italians. They can stay.
Oh, no, you don't. But
No,
when
no,
I say
I
French,
mean-
oh, no, you don't need to. But the Polish that made it to France, actually from this brigade, I don't have the models yet. So we probably will have to skip France and go right to the Western Desert. And then from there, we'll either go to Russia or we'll go to Northwest Europe. But again, I like stitching these stories together. Yeah, I don't know what we're going to do because we'll probably have to break up the chapters even in, let's say we do Russia. Russia's many years long. It's after North Africa, we're dealing with 3 years. And Normandy to the Western Europe, that's a year and a half. No, it's about a year. So June 44
Yeah.
really to May of 45.
The only the thing I'm probably weirdly looking forward to the most, not because I'll get to pretty much bring anything in my collection I want, is I'm looking forward to fighting it out in Berlin.
Oh yeah, yes.
I am, but I'm not. From my side, I'm looking forward to it. I'm not looking forward to fighting British.
Well, but I might have enough of my Polish Russians by that point.
I'd rather fight them.
Yeah.
I don't like something getting
I
double bombed.
I would definitely like. Yeah, we were trying to keep it themed to the setting, and so we're trying. I don't think we want to introduce British into Berlin, though we could do a what if, kind of classic heroes. I mean, this is our narrative. It's not historical.
The other thing that I think I've learned, and it's a weird thing, and I don't think they should change it, but I know, like, I don't feel like because since we're not following the reinforced platoons or anything like that,
Yeah,
like, being able to bring, like, 221s
yeah.
and whatever else I bought that game, like, going just like, this is what we got, let's use this. I don't think
Yeah.
it really unbalanced the game too much.
It doesn't in the early war, for sure.
Well, yes and no. I mean, there's parts of it that I don't like. Like, I don't like having to go against what? Technically
my
6
5
tanks.
My 5 tanks and
Five.
8 tanks.
8 tanks.
Yep. When everything was together that one game.
That was not a
8
fun.
tanks.
It was. I mean, I liked playing it, but it's not. Stare across the table, and it's like, I have like 3 things that can deal with all this stuff, and
Yeah.
they're all out of position.
Great. Yeah.
But I mean,
Yeah.
like, I don't feel like it unbalanced the game to the point where. Because even now, like, I can. Even that game, like, I couldn't really deal with your tanks, but I could. Your tanks can't hold objectives. I can.
No.
I can
Yep.
do enough damage to your infantry to make you have to fall back.
Yep.
And that's
Yeah.
what that's kind of what
essentially what happened.
That's what you forced me to do.
Yeah.
Because it's like, okay, yep, tank's gonna do its thing. I'll throw somebody up that way and hope they don't get killed.
Yeah. It gave you some tactical dilemmas you don't normally get in a normal bolt action game.
Yeah.
And neither of us are trying to do power gaming kind of thing. So I know it might look that way when you look at my Polish tanks, but
In fact, I have 2 flamethrowers.
well, yeah, but we're really not.
I just need a way to deal with the tank, and since I can't have Panzerfaust or
Not yet.
or
Yeah.
Shreks,
Right.
most I can have is a squad that you keep killing with anti-tank grenade. That has anti-tank
Yes.
grenades that you keep killing.
Yep.
That's that's all I really have to, and the howitzers and stuff. That's all I really have to.
Yeah, the more I read, and again, we're trying to use historical scenarios and things that actually happened to flavor and kind of set what our missions are all about. So that's why we're not necessarily following the reinforced platoon so much. Now, because I've had enough reinforcement points to get away with it, I've actually been able to build, a tank platoon for the TKS, a tank platoon for my tanks, and 2 regular platoons.
Kind of wrecked that.
I've been able to. You just wrecked completely. Yeah, I'm hurting now, but yeah, especially when
Both command tanks are gone.
yeah,
Well, yeah,
I had to read. Yep, I had to get rid of Yeah,
promote
so
somebody.
I've got no more TKS. I just have the one TKS that survived, and I had to promote somebody. But then again, I lost a tank in the very next game. So, yeah, the attrition is playing in, and I kind of like that because it makes me husband my resources a little better. I'm scared to be too risky. I know when you first started the campaign, you were very cautious, and
I still there's the other thing that I think I had learned, and I never really understood it, because a lot of people on a couple of the podcasts Bolt Action podcasts, talk about how the medium machine gun, even the German, is not really that effective, as effective as it should, and that's why I've never put one back in the. It was my mistake. He got killed in the first or second game.
Oh yeah.
He got killed because I put him in a bad spot, but I've never felt the need. It's like, oh, I need a medium machine gun again.
Right.
I've never put one back in. The only medium machine gun I would like to put back in is that Panzer IV.
Yeah. Now, that's actually an interesting point, because I don't know how it works with the Americans, because the Americans have a rule about having no penalty to move for moving, right? For most of their guns. But they only have a BAR as well. I find a need to have a medium machine gun, because that's the only way I can get a lot of shots downrange. Because the BAR is just 2, and it's only 30 inches. So if I had, like with my late war British, the poles there, I don't have, just like you, I don't feel the need to bring a medium machine gun, because my Brens in each of the squads do just fine.
Well, I wanted to put it in because I like it. But
Oh, yeah,
it's just
yeah,
like,
definitely.
now that it's dead, I don't feel the overwhelming urge to put it back
Yeah.
in my list. Even
See.
now, like when we play the few games we play casually, it's like,
Mhm.
I don't really need that. I can throw the points
Oh,
somewhere else.
interesting. Okay.
I mean, it depends on
Yeah.
if I knew what the scenario, which you're not supposed to know, but if I knew what the scenario
Yeah.
was ahead of time, I'd park it by an objective and just stay there and go on ambush. all
Yeah,
day
and that's actually one thing that is important about this campaign. We know the scenario that's coming up.
Vaguely.
We talk about the setting and the narrative goals for the thing. Dave usually ends up setting the table up just because he has a chance to, and then we kind of come up with what the snare is going to be.
We usually do that.
We have a general idea of what it's going to be.
Usually based off of what happens at the end of the game. Like, the only one I would say
Yeah.
that we kind of knew but didn't really was after the second game, because like we kind of went from the winner to
Oh yeah,
Or
that was
somewhere
the
else
winner.
now.
We had a winner table. Yeah, that
just
was
because I set it up, I was like, this looks cool.
yeah. Yep. So yes, our first game was a little bit set. A late summer winter storm came in.
They're up north.
Yeah. It is like Wisconsin in a lot of ways.
Right, but no, yeah, I mean, and it's not that does. I don't think that gives us an advantage one way or the other.
Oh no, I don't think so. Especially since we're limited to what we can. You have to kind of pretty much leave your forces intact.
Well,
I mean,
I would say yes and no, because there was in the scenario, the second game and taking the hill. I had an idea of what I wanted to do, and I spent most of the day at
Yeah.
work screwing around in my head, like what can I. And that's where I came with. That's where I won both those 221s, both
Yeah.
those head. Because if I can just under the cover of dark, which went away, just
Yeah.
charge up the hill and just park up there, wait till day breaks, and then just gun everybody down.
Yeah.
That was my plan.
Yeah.
But somebody
Yeah.
didn't look at their watch.
Yeah. Yes. Yep, dawn came early that day. Oh, yeah. Yeah, so it does give you a chance to plan both ways, because there have been a couple, like when I was worried about defending the hill, regardless of whether there was a night fighting or not, I mean, just how do I keep you off with what little I had? And with so much I had a whole table length to cover, but it was just the hill that was important, and I couldn't let you have free reign on the side, so
Right.
I wouldn't say I spent all day at work thinking about that, but I spent several days leading up to it trying to go, how can I do this? And it was the same kind of thinking I had to go through when it came to that actual struggle in the town. And yeah, I was in a great position because I had a whole lot of points to play with, and I got to bring everything except my transports, not that I need them, but it was still, how do I keep you from...
Both those city games were rough. I'm not gonna lie.
Mm-hmm.
That was a lot of. I had a plan at work. I was thinking at work, we were doing paperwork at work, stuff's popping up, oh, I can do that, I can do that. And then, like, halfway through, like, 4 dice into turn 1, okay, that plan's shot, what am I going to do now?
Gotcha.
That's why, honestly, the only plan I had coming in was, and it was
this is the firefight,
in the firefight, sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know when this is going up, so.
Right afterward.
Okay.
Yeah.
In the firefight, the only thing is when you were explaining stuff, was I knew if I strung out Dietrich's stuff, guys, the 2 guys on, well, you can't really see, but over here, putting those 2 guys over here, trying to force, well, I knew you were going to go that way anyway, but
yeah,
because I didn't think you were just going to run straight. I wasn't going to let you run straight. That's why those 2 guys were kind of force you that way. Then I sent the 4 over here, and then I'm like, oh, you're within 12. Oh.
Yeah.
All right, fine. And then Gruber was just kind of a distraction.
Yeah.
In all honesty, that's all he was.
Yeah. Well, it was good to run him up the way you did because he was the way to kind of seal the bottle from the north, right? And you had, I figured you guys were going to come up along the entire, as much of this edge as you could. And it's actually one of the things that we did make a mistake on. This wasn't part of your
Oh, it wasn't?
No, yeah, it was supposed to be the corner.
Oh.
But it doesn't matter. It was a fun game the way it played out. You had both edges.
Oh.
It makes sense.
Well,
Given the fact, if you think about it, you came down, Dietrich squad came down, got off the table early, and he went straight south. Well, you came in on the south table edge, so that makes sense. In my mind, I had you more to the southwest, but it doesn't matter. I like the way the game played out.
I don't think I could have won then if I was. What were we? How far were
You're
you
actually
given?
right. All the half up to 18 inches in. You're absolutely right. It would have been much easier for me to win, and you're right. It would have been a bad scenario. That's one of the things that's kind of interesting. We're coming up with these scenarios kind of on the fly, in a sense, like the convoy game.
Yeah, I was just going to bring that up. We learned I don't think, did we discuss that on camera?
No, not entirely. No, but that's a good example of we don't always know if the game scenario we come up with is...
In our head, it works. Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah.
And then for the convoy, we did the math after the game.
Yeah.
The convoy the lead car would have been the only one to get off, and that was if it was moving on the dirt road at full speed.
Every single turn. Yeah. And that was entirely an oops in the way we laid it out.
Neither one of us did the math.
No, we didn't. We were so excited to play the concept of the game that we didn't dive into that.
When we do, because
clarify it.
I think that's a good enough where we can plop that type of scenario into any theater.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And I think now that we know that,
Mm-hmm.
because let it go full, just because it can go full doesn't mean I'm going to want it to go full.
Right.
Because I don't want it to get out, because the idea was it doesn't want to get out in front of its guard.
Escort, right?
Its escort.
Yeah.
But that's the way it was, that game, excuse me, was going. They were going way too slow.
Yeah. Yeah, they were.
Because I don't even think I didn't even make it up to the bend in the road.
Yes, you did. That's where your half track died.
Oh.
After making the turn. Because you used him to block
That's
line
right.
of sight. Because you had an escape route that you were trying to block. So, yeah. So...
That was something else that came up on the fly. I wasn't even thinking of trying to do that. And
yeah.
My plan was, I had a plan, I don't remember what it was, going into that game, but I remember, turn 2, realizing what I had to sacrifice the first half track, I did, because I was looking, I was like, when you shot at me through that narrow strip of wide open territory, I'm like, that's my escape route.
And yeah, neither of us even knew that route was there, that line of sight was there.
This is funny, and I've told him this. Normally when I set up the tables, because I usually get here about an hour before you.
Yeah.
My job allows me to leave an hour early, or not leave. My schedule is I'm off an hour before you.
Yeah.
So I get here, I unwind, I listen to a couple of podcasts, and I set up the table. Usually when I'm setting up the force, I grab a handful of them, those are the first things I put out. I just throw them at the table, and where they land, they land. I don't okay, there's a narrow, no, I'm just random's better.
Yeah.
There's a couple things I've set up specifically to, because you've been do this. All right, I'll do this. But, the force are generally just thrown on the table.
No, it worked out. Remember, the firefight table is the only one that I've set up where I purposefully made sure there were almost no straight lines of sight across the table. Right, everything was blocked. You might get line of sight to the middle of the table, but you won't get much past that. The only things were down the streets, down the roads, and I think it worked out pretty well.
It's like an Infinity or a Frostgrave table. You're not supposed to have that much line of sight.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it makes it a more challenging game too. But yeah, when I happened to notice that one shot that was, I had the road covered.
I'm glad you did, because that's where my plan came. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
charge that thing, get up as close as I can. And yeah, I'm probably going to take some hits coming in, but I can swarm it, and then I can get out over there.
Yeah.
Because you had that one squad just jumping back and forth from house to house, because I don't know what they were.
Well, I was honestly, again, we never did the math, so I was expecting you to quickly get over there, and he was going to stop you. He was going to occupy the road before you got there and charge the tanks and stuff, or sorry, half-tracks and trucks as he got there. Once you were going to call on the barrage, I moved him across the road to escape. But that was his, he was a blocking unit.
Because I think if the barrage would have come in and would have taken out whatever was that was the anti-tank gun, right?
No, that was the KOP squad.
No, the gun that shot me.
Oh, that was the
howitzer?
howitzer, yes.
If I would have taken that out, then I think that would have been.
That would have been your ticket off the board.
It would have been, and it would have been way different.
Yes.
Or if I would have, I need to try and remember this. I got better at it recently, but there's a game, if I ever get the points, to bring back another Schultz.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Is to drop a smoke barrage.
Yeah.
Because if I would have dropped a smoke barrage over there, I could have zipped up there and been in your face.
Yeah, and the smoke around that bend area too, because you might have been able to get it.
I tried that, remember, and it flew back in my face.
Yeah. Now, did we use scatter dye there? Or
yeah, we
did.
We've
Okay.
been doing that the whole campaign.
I thought so. I just want to make sure, because pretty sure we introduced it then, but it wasn't.
I think that was the first game.
Yeah.
We talked about.
And that's been a good mechanic for it. It's a lot more fair. But one of the things that I think, hopefully, this campaign is maybe going to encourage you is try different things. Don't worry about if you think it's going to work or not. Just try it. Have fun playing the game, seeing what happens, and learn from it.
You're not going to know if it's broke until you try it.
Yeah, exactly. Like
just because it looks broke on paper doesn't mean that it's broke when you actually do it.
Yeah, exactly. And even if you've seen the way our two forces have evolved through attrition and reinforcement, they don't mesh well, and there's not necessarily a good rock paper scissors relationship all the time, and it presents challenges for both of us. And yet it's never seemed really unbalanced. The only time that I felt it was unbalanced is when we had actually in the struggle for Robco, when I had. No, it wasn't. I thought that was pretty balanced. 'Cause again, like I said, I couldn't hold objectives with the tanks. But in the delaying action that followed, where I had 24 dice, and narratively I had things, it felt unbalanced. But when I looked at what actually happened on the tabletop, it could have been a whole lot different had you played your forces differently.
Oh, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I watched that game a couple days, after you put up, like a couple days later, and just because I remember that night when I got home, that game exhausted me.
Yeah.
And as soon as I hit my head hit my pillow, I was out, and I was just like, that was exhausting. That was like pulling teeth.
Yeah. Well, it was hard, I think, because if you had started by running all your vehicles on, none of your stuff would be out of place as far as being in your deployment zone. You still would have had to walk on your infantry gun and your anti-tank gun, which is fine. They did great work when they were on. But if you had run at least the first turn, maybe even the second turn in some areas, you would have had your infantry so close to mine. And of course, mine are small squads or inexperienced, and your squads would meet out a whole lot more damage.
Well, even that game, behind the curtain, like 2 weeks ago, when I was bringing everything up this side.
Yeah, that's the one
that's what you're talking about. Where you're right. I realized that I was like, because when I pulled that first half track up and you had that squad up by the wall, I shouldn't have stopped to shoot.
Right. Yeah.
There was no reason for me to.
Nope. You could have actually bypassed them completely.
Yeah.
The only thing I could have done, and it's not a good idea, would be to charge the half track. But that would have gotten all 3 of your units out in the open, and they would not have order dice on them.
That's because that was 2 flamethrowers and
Yeah,
yeah.
and even though I get to choose which one to attack, I can only take out one of the flamethrowers in combat. That leaving you with another flamethrower and Gruber squad able to do stuff, and it's just not.
That's just something I have to train myself to do.
Mhm.
That's a me of like, oh, there's a unit I should shoot it,
Oh yeah.
because and it's not like going back to an older. It's not like I'm not. Cause I think we've talked about this before, but
Mhm.
like how I became a better 40K player was because of the Art of War things.
Yeah, the Art of War series.
And it's like,
yeah.
it's not that I'm not using it. It's like that squad's in the. I had to at least try and put a couple pins on that thing, just that unit, just in case. Sure, if I put 2 pins on it, great. So they're going to get up. They're going to have at least they're going to have 1 pin on them. So they're going to be. I can zoom by them because they're going to have to.
Yeah.
That was my thought process. I was like,
Yeah.
I have to pin them down a little bit to
Conceptually-
go.
Yeah, conceptually that's not bad because you are putting pressure so that you can get by. Suppress the defender and then take the position or bypass the position. So conceptually, yes, very good.
I just didn't hit them.
Yeah, which is a risk when you're hitting on 6s, movement and hard cover.
I think you were down too.
Not by that point.
Not by that point.
No, it was the next turn when I tried to activate. From that point on, I was down.
Yeah.
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 But I am really glad you suggested this approach because I am really enjoying it. But we do need to have. But you definitely need better rolls on your reinforcement point side.
I don't know. Should we? And if people have gotten this far into this,
Mhm.
I don't know how long this is. Probably way too long than you probably thought it was going to be.
Oh no, it's fine.
If you want us to start doing our reinforcement rolls on camera, we can. I have no problem doing that. Just
Oh yeah, it
because
doesn't
we've
matter.
never done that.
No, we haven't.
And
It's
I
always
realize that
been
at some
just something-
point.
We do it right after the game, but it's not on camera. We can. We can definitely show you.
Sometimes
but-
not right. But sometimes we sit there and like, okay, where did I screw up?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
it's like,
We
okay,
t-
narratively, what happens?
Yeah.
And then it's, oh yeah, we need to do our reinforcement rolls.
Yeah.
I've had 1 good reinforcement roll this
You
entire.
did. Unfortunately, I've had 2 and then some other consistent ones, which are unfortunately have put me ahead. And
Yeah, I have how many points I have. Since I didn't lose anybody, I know how many points I have.
yeah.
592.
Oh shoot, you do?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, we have to take a look because you may have just gotten. My friend, I know you've just gotten reinforced the emergency reinforcement again, and that I think is actually something I came up with.
The Fuhrer is getting mad at
Which
me.
which a lot of the problems with some of the campaigns is a player kind of gets run away. They get
Yes,
they just they dominate the whole thing because they just either they're lucky or they end up just getting all the points because of the way the campaign's structured. Having this additional mechanism where in a group of players, here it's only 2, but in a group of players, if any player reaches their army size is reduced to less than or equal to half of the highest player's army, they immediately get a reinforcement, emergency reinforcement of X number of 100 to get them within 100 of that the opponent, the top opponent. So that allows you to really kind of keep the unlucky players in the game and having some fun. So yeah, and in having Kruger rescued, I think that's motivation to
The other thing
reinforce this group.
that I just thought of this, that I know we've talked about at the game store a couple times too. When I've been watching you play against other people, the thing that I don't know, because I don't know how many casual games I've actually played since we started doing this, because I feel weird wanting to switch complete mindsets from this to a casual game. I think would screw me up because
yes.
I think because in a casual game I could be more reckless with the unit because I don't care if they die.
Yeah, right.
Or I'm like this. I don't think I could break that mindset that easily because I joked with you. I think it was last Saturday about that.
Yeah.
So don't get him killed.
Yeah. Yes. Yep.
Because I think that would be harder. I think that'd be hard for me to do personally, but I think it would throw my opponent off. In all honesty.
Yeah, they would. Yeah. But yeah, sometimes your cautiousness is not going to pay off
No,
in a casual game.
right,
Yeah. In this, it has paid off.
to some degree.
Yeah. Well, no, there are a couple games you lost because you're too cautious early on, but once you got past that, yeah, I think your cautiousness level you found the right spot. You're kind of in the sweet spot right now.
Yeah.
So, yep. So we're having fun.
Yeah.
I hope you guys too are having fun watching us. Maybe it's giving you ideas to kind of do your own kind of campaigns or even just oddball scenarios you come up with. So, matter of fact, if you could share down in the comments, what you might have gotten out of watching these campaign bat reps, whether it's ideas or whatever it is, whatever you got out of it. Just go ahead and comment below. Share, like, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video, which will be probably another two-parter because you're going to get a whole bunch of reinforcements, and I'm not. I only got the 200 points from the last game, so. But spoiler. Rostakowski is going to be put in reserve because the captain's
Oh, that's right.
doesn't
You did tell
want.
me about that.
Yeah, I don't. I've got Urbanovich and Rostakowski, and I only got one platoon worth of guys, so I don't need two officers. I think I could put my one officer in reserve.
Coward.
So yeah, well we'll see if I get some more points, I can get another unit on there. I'll probably have Rostakowski back, but let's see if Urbanovich can take the load a little bit longer. Because we've got at least one more week of fighting before the High Command orders us to book it for Romania and Hungary. So we'll see what happens. All right, you guys have fun. See you guys in the next video.
Yep.
Bye bye.